Write an equation for the following problem, then solve the equation and answer the problem. Find three consecutive odd integers with the sum of negative 51. So the first thing that we need to ask ourselves is, what does it mean by three consecutive odd integers? So the word consecutive means in a row. So three odd integers in a row. So let's think about what that would be. Odd integers in a row. So for example, 1, 3, 5. Those are three odd integers in a row. Or 9, 11, 13. That's three odd integers in a row. Since it says integers, it could be negatives also. So we could have -9, -7, -5. That would also be three odd integers in a row. And what we notice is that these integers are all 2 units apart. In other words, if we take the number 1 and we add 2, we get 3. And if we take 3 and add 2, we get 5. Same thing with 9, 11, and 13. 9 plus 2 is 11, and 11 plus 2 is 13. And it's not quite as easy to see with the negatives, but -9 plus 2 is -7, and -7 plus 2 is -5. So how does this help us solve the problem? Well, three consecutive odd integers doesn't tell us what the first integer is. Is the first integer 1? Is it 9? Is it -9? Is it something else entirely? We have no idea. So we're going to call it n. The first integer is going to be n. So what's the next integer? We don't know, but we know that it's going to be 2 higher than the first integer because a consecutive odd integer is 2 higher than the one in front of it. So then what's the third integer going to be? Well, it's going to be 2 higher than the one in front of it. The previous odd integer was n plus 2. The next one's going to be 2 higher than that, n plus 2 plus 2, which we could write as n plus 4. So our odd integers are n plus 2, and n plus 4. The problem says they have a sum of -51. Sum means we add them all together. So n plus 2, our second integer, plus n plus 4, our third integer, equals -51. And now what we need to know is, what's the value of n? If we know what n is, then we can figure out what the next two are. So let's go ahead and combine our like terms first. 1, 2, 3 n's, and then plus 2 plus 4, that's plus 6. So we will combine our like terms. I get that. And the sum is -51. And now our goal is to isolate the value of n. So let's subtract our 6 on both sides. This is the subtraction property of equality. So that's going to give us 3n equals, and -51 minus 6 is -57. The 6 is, of course, plus 6 minus 6, that cancels. This was the subtraction property of equality. And now to isolate the n, we just need to divide both sides by 3. So divided by 3, divided by 3. And that gives us n equals, and then 57 divided by 3 is 19. And this is a negative divided by a positive, so -19, which we get after the division property of equality. So the first number in our series is -19. The next number is 2 higher than that, so -17. And the next number is 2 higher than that, so -15. And there are our 3 consecutive odd integers, -19, -17, and -15. And we can check and make sure these are really our 3 consecutive numbers by seeing if the sum is -51. If I add these 3 numbers together, do I get -51? Well, 19 and 17 is going to give me a total of 36. So negative 36. And negative 36 and negative 15 is in fact negative 51. So that's how we can check our work and say, yes, if I do add those together, the sum is in fact negative 51.